We're always affected by the physical environment. Most of this is subliminal. It's not that we're conscious of it. We're not supposed to be conscious of it necessarily. But if you just open that door to people, they begin to realize, oh my God, I can affect my life in a very, very important way just by understanding how to enhance it better with the architecture around it.
I had a vision that we needed to preserve what attracted us to Austin at the same time that we had to know that we were changing. Larry played a fundamental role in my view of how we went about doing that, because he was someone that got what it is we love about this place and is able to transform that into something that, even though it's new, it's tied to what we love.
Austin has a wonderful planning and architectural history. In 1839, they came along the Colorado River and they saw this slow rise up to a hill. And they imagined the Capitol building sitting on that hill, and then the city nestling between these two bluffs framed by creeks on either side. They then laid out a 15 block by 15 block grid, and that was called the old Waller plan. And then, interestingly enough, they then named the streets for natural features. In one direction, they named them for the rivers in Texas. And then they named the streets that ran east-west for the trees. So we were destined from day one to be a city that had something to do with the landscape and cared about the landscape.
When you make bologna sandwiches with your feet, there are a few things that you gotta keep in mind. One, go ahead and use the antibacterial soap and soap them up nice and good. Paying special attention to the problem areas. Make sure your feet are dry. If you're gonna open up lids of mayonnaise and stuff, it helps if your toes are really, really dry. Be careful with the sharp knives. And we'll give it a nice thin, even layer, just like that. Jay Leno has eaten one of these sandwiches. Donny Osmond has eaten one of these sandwiches. And most recently, I set a Guinness World Record for the fastest time making it. Nancy, join the crew. You gotta love her! Give it up for Nancy!
It takes a while. I mean, it takes years for people to get good. I mean, any overnight success in comedy took, you know, over a decade.
I started off street performing. I worked with a couple of other guys, and we put together a variety show. The Flaming Idiots was always focused more on the comedy, and all the juggling and everything that we did was always a vehicle for that. We wanted to incorporate a lot of fire into the show. We were doing fire breathing and fire eating, setting our hands on fire, juggling fire, and at some point we decided, you know what, maybe we'll back off a little bit on the fire and focus more on the comedy. And we put in 20 years. It kept going. Right off the bat, we had successes.
The Flaming Idiots definitely were part of our tier of people that come through and do a guest stint and even do a whole show. They've come in and done their own shows at Esther's. Then recently they decided they would part ways amicably, and Rob has been busy doing all kinds of things.
I wanted to say, yeah, well at least I get paid to look stupid.
Well, I spent this last holiday season working as the Macy's elf in David Sedaris's The Santaland Diaries at Zach Scott. But I'm also doing my show, this variety talk show.
Hello everybody, I'm so glad you could all make it here to my show and look what a lovely and enthusiastic, give yourselves a